Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jaylee. This is Jaylee's Corner, and this is my review of the Have and the Have Nots episode from tonight. I believe this was the season finale. It was episode 23, titled The Veronica Show, and let's just get into this. This was a good episode. It progressed. It wasn't a lot of stale moments. It wasn't a lot of pointless dialogue as much as Tyler Perry shows have sometimes, so that part wasn't frustrating. I think everyone did a good job in today's episode. I can't wait for it to be back on in January, my birthday month. So yeah, let's just start it. So the episode does Lord Jesus. It does start off right where the last episode left off, and it's with Candace still being distraught over opening up the casket and seeing Q's body and not expecting to see him in the casket. And, she's just still crying. And she's like, why wouldn't you tell me his body was in there? Why wouldn't you tell me that? And they're like, that we didn't know you was going to open the casket. Ain't nobody think you was going to flip that dang on casket open, Candace. I'm just happy that she didn't flip the goddamn on casket, because then she would have flipped her goddamn on son. So luckily she did only open the thing of the casket, and she didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because some people, when they pissed off, they knock stuff over, you break things, you knock the casket stuff over because you assume they're empty. But, Benny like, Candace, that's why we were here. We were here to do the body, to make sure that it was okay with the service. That's what we were here for. And and the morgue guy, the funeral director guy, was like, we didn't expect you to touch the caskets. And I'm like, but sir, you probably should have said something. You saw them acting all crazy between that dang on blue casket and that white casket. But I digress. So, and then she was like, well, why are you guys, why? And then he was like, well, we're trying to figure out if the casket should be open or closed. And because the guy was saying, like, we still need you to look at the body and say if it's okay for the casket to be open or closed. So at that point, Benny was like, let's just leave it closed for right now. Candace like, he looks so gray, I can't believe what they did to him, because you can see the gunshot to the head, the bullet hole, from the gunshot to the head. And, she then turns to Hannah. You did this to him. You did this. You killed my son to get back at me. Why do you hate me so much? What did I ever do to you to make you hate me so much? And she's really blaming Hannah. Like, in her head, she really feel like Hannah killed. My thing is, I kept saying, I wonder how it happened. Yeah, how did Quincy get killed and Hannah didn't get shot? And a commenter commented in my last video, and they said it could have been that he got shot before he even went in the bathroom, and Hannah just didn't notice it. And I was like, that makes complete sense, because once she was in the bathroom, it was like, well, dang, how did that happen? So I was like, that does make plausible sense. Before he went into the bathroom, he was shot, and Hannah carried him in there not knowing he was already shot. It's because of everything. But, Candace is pissed, blaming Hannah, it's your fault, you hate me so much, I can't wait for when it's you in that box and I can spit on your grave. And Hannah was like, you just, you just talked about your own funeral. When you die, it's going to be people over your grave, but it won't be just one person. It'll be everybody you ever wronged, everybody you ever crossed, everyone that you ever slept with, just everybody going to be there just spitting on your grave. I'm like, that's going to be a lot of spit, Hannah. So they're going back and forth, and Hannah was like, God told me to stop praying for you. And I was like, that's deep. When God tell you to stop praying for somebody, really? I can't picture God saying that. You know what I'm saying? Because God don't give up on his children. So when she said that, I was like, did that come from a place of hurt, or where did that come from? Because even that surprised me. But I don't know if she meant that in the aspect of she was driving herself crazy praying for Candace. If God maybe said, hold off, I got her, I'm going to teach her some things, take it off your heart. I'm thinking maybe that's how she meant it. I don't know, Hannah sometimes can be, I'm saying, a little quick with it. So she was like, so God did this? God told, God took my son away from me. God, killed my son. And she was like, no, you and that boy did. You was running from Quincy. You was running from war. War came back and he did this. You and him did this. The things that you have done, the things you have plotted, the people you have crossed, the things that you have done did this. It's all you. And she's like, and they were talking. I'm not gonna go through the whole dialogue thing. It was, a back and forth thing of saying reasons why it's Candace's fault. Just the life choice that she has made. And she's like, daughter, I wish you could look at yourself and see what you've been doing to yourself and see how this is your fault. And she was like, as much as I'm mad at God, I'm going to still pray. Yes, I still want the funeral to be in a church. As mad as I am at God, I'm so upset. But he is still my God. Yes, he won't. Yes, Lord Jesus. And she was like, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Meaning he gave you your son. And he giveth and he taketh away. And then she was like, you can have your God. I'm like, Hannah and Candace acting in this scene was so phenomenal. Just the pure. I wish there was a little bit more tears from Benny. Benny wasn't crying too much. Benny was like a little sad prop, a little sad, cute prop on the side. But Hannah and Candace, just the back and forth, the feeling, the emotion. Because, if you hate your daughter, if you hate your child, and y'all are having this moment because your grandchild was murdered, her son was murdered, and y'all are blaming each other. They're blaming each other. And in one way or another, they're both at fault. More Candace than Hannah. But still, they both have a little bit of a part to play in this. Because Candace is Hannah's daughter. She is in some way a product of you. Candace, Q was your son. You was not a fit mother for him. You know what I'm saying? And I know that the reason that when she first got custody of Quincy and then of Q, and then she found out Quincy was still around, the reason she didn't want the baby around, was because she knew Quincy was bad news. So on one point that people don't even realize, she thought she was saving her son by giving him away. Because she like, if he not with me, and if Quincy catches me, he won't catch my son. But in the midst of doing that, you cross war. So with you crossing war, it still cost you your son. So all of your misdeeds came home to roost, So, they're going back and forth still. But she's like, you can have your God. There won't be a funeral. And they're like, Candace, no, just stop. So being like, Candace, stop, just stop. And she's like, stop, Benny, shut up. There won't be a funeral. I want him cremated now. I'm like, damn, Candace, really? You want him cremated right now? And she was like, that's it. Catherine had walked in, so she saw the dialogue between them. She never said anything. She was, standing in the background, but we saw her watching it all go down. And as Candace is saying he's going to be cremated, I thought Hannah would say something, but for the first time, Hannah didn't say nothing. Hannah didn't argue with her. She didn't fuss and fight with her. Benny was the one saying, Candace, no, we can't do that. We have to have a service. And she was like, no, he's my son. He will be cremated. And she was like, let's go, talking to the funeral director. And then they leave. Of course, she eyeballs Catherine. Catherine still don't say anything. Being like, it's not right. It's not right. And, Catherine's like, I can call a lawyer, we can get a judge. And she was like, no. It's her son. That's her child. It's her right. And I felt like finally Hannah stopped fighting Candace, simply because at the end of the day, that is her son. And at this point, he's already dead. So y'all are no longer fighting over who keeps him. It's not about who's going to take care of him. That's not even the issue anymore. So I felt it was good on Hannah's case to finally stop fighting, because fighting about it ain't gonna change anything. It's just gonna be more and more discourse. So, but she was like, it's her child, it's okay, it's her child, but we're gonna say goodbye. So, people sometimes want a funeral to say their goodbyes. So Hannah, opened the casket, and she talked to her grandson, how much he was a light in her life. She was crying. Benny was fake crying. I ain't seen no tears. You know what I'm saying? He was just covering his face with no tears. And Benny gets tears sometimes. She finally prayed. Hannah hadn't prayed since Q died. And she was saying, as angry as I am, as upset as I am, as much as I don't want to pray, and she was still talking to God. You know what I'm saying? It brought her back to her faith to know that at the end of the day, but God, you can't get it any other way. And so, she said some prayers, she said some great things, and, she said goodbye to her grandson, and she closed the casket. So for them, I'm like, she got her closure that she needed. Sometimes you don't have to have a whole full-out funeral. And I felt like Hannah realized that, like, I don't need to have a full-out funeral to say goodbye to my grandson because he's already gone. I'm going to let Candace do whatever she's going to do. I'm going to leave it alone. And, they then leave out and everything. The next thing that we see is, we see Melissa. Is her name Melissa? Jeffrey baby mom. I think her name is Melissa. I don't know why I always forget her name, but I always know it's with an M. And I'm like, damn, is her name Melissa? I need to be sure her name is Melissa. But, whatever. Anywho, she ain't playing with Veronica. She not for the bullshit. She not as scared. She's not as quiet. She's not as... she's not following Veronica's orders as much as she used to. And, Veronica like, you need to eat. She's like, I don't want to eat. You need to make Jeffrey come here. I can't make him come here. I can't make him want me. And Veronica like, you're a woman, dear. You're just so stupid. All you have to do is just lay there. First of all, Jeffrey gay. And what she said was, because then Veronica said, and do something with your hair. No man, who wants to come home to something looking like that? And she was like, especially not a gay man. And Veronica tried to haul off and slap her, but she caught her hand and was like, and she's like, don't you ever speak about, a gay person to my son. But bitch, your son is gay, Veronica. We know he's gay. He likes men. It is what it is. But I like how she's not just doing whatever Veronica says. I'm still wondering, did she even clean that bed? I don't know, because I was trying to look to see if she cleaned it. So she's trying to force her to eat a sandwich. You have to eat. She's like, I don't want to eat. Should I just force it down your throat? You force everything else down my throat. I'm looking like, did you just say that she like forced Jeffrey dick down? Like, what else did she force down your throat? But we're not going to talk about that. She threw a sandwich at her. You need to eat this food. You know what? I don't have time for this. I have to go to the court. And when I come back, I expect all this to be cleaned up. Get your ghetto ass up and eat, fix your hair, blah, 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 blah. So Veronica leave, But Veronica did say to her, the only thing that's keeping you here and alive and in my good graces is the baby you carry. If it was for that baby, I wouldn't care about you. And then she left to go to court. So what did she do? Melissa, and I'm praying her name is Melissa. If I'm saying the wrong name, please forgive me, but you know what I'm talking about. She goes into the bathroom or the hallway bathroom thing, and she gets a hanger. I'm looking like, is she finna give herself a goddamn homemade abortion that I used to do back in the 1800s? Girl, if you don't fall down some goddamn on stairs that has somebody kick you on the stomach, my thing is, there are other, if you want to have a miscarriage, there are other things that you can do besides sticking something up your vagina. If you that desperate, you already tried to kill yourself and slit your wrist. And my thing is, why do anything that is gonna make no. I mean, just fall down some stairs. Or just say, hey, I'm gonna go to this kickboxing class and I ain't gonna wear no gear. Whatever. So yeah, we see her go into the bathroom and she get a hanger and she's like bending it up and then she sits on the bed. And we like, okay, whatever. The next thing that we see is Jim at the hotel. And so is Candace, and we see that they're actually on the same floor. Jim is at his room down that way. Candace is trying to get into her room down this way, but Candace can't get into her room. And I'm wondering if she doesn't have a room anymore because she ain't had no money. So Jim was like, Candace, what a surprise. And they're talking or whatever. And, Jim brings up how Ward is looking for her. And she's like, how do you know Ward's looking for me? Oh, you must have told him, how much money that I really got. And he was like, Candace, everyone's looking for you, but it doesn't really matter. And she's like, well, Ward's dead. And he's like, well, whatever. So, they had a lot of back and forth with her saying, because she brought up her son was dead. He like, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know how that feels, because of Amanda. You do remember Amanda, right? And she's like, I told you I had nothing to do with her her death. And he was like, well, whatever. And then he said, you inadvertently did have something to do with her death. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear about your son. You know, it's so unfortunate what happened. And she was like, are you saying that you had my son killed? He was like, no, you know, I would never inadvertently have your son killed. He then said it would take a real good marksman to shoot Q in the head and Miss Hannah. I'm like, bitch. This person he didn't admit to it, but he admitted to it. Because when she said, you said that you had my son killed, I would never admit to that. But it would take a hell of a marksman to shoot Quincy in the head and Miss Hannah. I'm like, bitch. Jim had her son. Because then he then said, I never forget. Remember, Jim blamed Candace for Amanda. And then, remember, he tried to have Veronica killed, Candace killed, the other baby mama that he had killed, Celine. And so, when Veronica's didn't work out, Maggie Day ended up being killed. They never show what the fuck happened to Celine. And I guess he just waited to get Candace, because he tried to have Candace killed with Mama Rose. Mama Rose didn't do it. So I guess he never forgot. And this was his way of doing it. And he kind of put war in the path of getting it done. I'm looking like, bitch. Jim had her son murdered. Bitch. We thought it was all war, and we thought it was an accident. And I guess that's why War kept saying that was an accident. We didn't mean for it to happen. Because he didn't mean for it to happen. And when I kept saying, how the fuck did they shoot him in the head and they didn't get Hannah? Because it was a planned hit. Bitch. Jim probably had somebody always with War or paid someone to, because, bitch. Damn. Really? I was so shocked. And when Jim said, you know, I never forget, and then he walked away. And no, he said, I don't forget nothing, bitch. Then he walked away. And she was like, neither do I. Look at him looking like I'm a cute. I mean, ooh, the wrath. The wrath. Ooh, I can't wait till next season. So, the next thing we see is now Candace is down in the lobby. And that's making me think, well, damn, do she have a room upstairs? Because why didn't she ever go into her room? And Veronica walks up. Why they all in the same goddamn hotel is beyond me. If they all live in Atlanta, maybe they all in the hurricane too. I don't know what that was that just scared the crap out of me. Anywho, they all in the same dang hotel, and I don't know why. But you know, Candace is like, look, I don't care what you want. I don't want anything from you, no. And like, I need your help, but she's like, I don't care. I don't want anything, because of course Candace is in the whole place of I don't care about anything now. My son is dead. Veronica then says, I have a proposition for you. I know you and Erica are working together. I know Erica used to be your bottom bitch. And I'm like, how the fuck did she know all of this? How does she know all of this? I know y'all setting up David. You know, I know. And she like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, I got it all on camera. And she like, what camera? Man, Veronica proceeds to play on her phone video or audio of Candace and Erica talking about setting David up. And she's like, how did you get that? And she was like, I sent her flowers, dear. And she's like, she told me that. But she took the flowers out the room, and she was like, well, you know how all you ghetto hoes are. You love nice things. And she took the flowers out of the vase and kept the nice vase, because you ghetto hoes love nice things. And I'm looking like, Erica's stupid. Because my thing is, if David told you, put them flowers out the room, you buy the flowers every goddamn thing. You don't keep, no, you get, ooh, she's stupid. So Veronica, like, the camera was in the vase. I knew she would keep it because she's a ghetto bitch. And Erica was. So the whole time, Veronica has heard everything. The conversations, her and David having sex, probably War being there in her, because she then said, I could tell you didn't trust her. How did you know? How did you know not to trust her? I could tell. How did you figure it out? And she's like, look, basically, I have a deal for you. I'll get you off of this murder rap because the police is outside. But the deal is you have to let me in on whatever you and Erica have against David. I want in. I want revenge. And at first, Candace was like, no. I'd rather hang you with the rope that you're trying to hang David with before I help you do anything. And then she was like, all right. And the cops come in and they arrest Candace. And not only did the cops arrest Candace, guess which cop arrested Candace? It was goddamn on Jennifer Hudspeth's husband. I'm looking like David Otunga. You've been on everything, brother. I remember when he was on I Love New York, and he was an attorney back then. He went from being an attorney, and then he was, dating, and now he's married to Jennifer Hudson, and he's the goddamn on wrestler. Now I'm like, you also an actor, so you are an attorney, a wrestler, and an actor. Bring in the multiple checks, homie. Bring in the multiple checks. Anywho, yeah, she's arrested and she's taken to jail for the murder of Quincy Maxwell. So the next thing we see is Justin and Jeffrey in the hotel room. Everybody in these goddamn hotel rooms. They done burned down. Let's see, Veronica and David's house burned down a while ago. They just burned down Jim and them house, but which is crazy because one, we ain't seen not 911 call. No one's called David. David has called Catherine or Jim to say your house is on fire. I mean, how did they just burn the house down 2 or 3 episodes ago and nothing happened from it? What the hell? How? Anywho, so Jeffrey and Justin are at the hotel talking, and Jeffrey's like, look, you need to go talk to your wife because my mother is going to tell your wife that you're gay. And he's like, she won't tell. And Jeffrey like, yes, she will. You need to tell her first before my mom do. And he was like, forget all that. Make love to me. See, that's Jeffrey's problem. Not Jeffrey. That's Justin's problem. He dickmatized. He is so hypnotized by Jeffrey's dick. He doesn't see it. Veronica's batshit crazy. Okay? And she gonna tell your wife. So when he say that, you see a letter slide up under the door. And Jeffrey's like, that has to be my mom. They read it and the note say, I know he's in there. And I'm like, Veronica's the goddamn stalker. So they come out of the room and sure enough, Veronica's walking away. Like, I just wanted to let y'all know that I was going to court. They follow her to the elevator and he's like, what did she say? I wanted to let you two love buzzards. No, love buzzards? Love buzzards? Because they're gay, they're buzzards, Veronica? I can't deal with her. She's like, I'm tired of y'all. Like, I gave you opportunities to come home. You haven't done it now. You haven't been listening. I'm going to court and you going to jail. And that's it. Now, mind you, when David... There was a quick scene of... No, it's not. I haven't got to that yet. Anywho, she's trying to leave. Justin, like, grabs her arm. And it's like, you're not going to go anywhere. And she's like, grab me. Go ahead and grab me and I'll show you how much Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. I'm like, why are you yelling in this fancy ass hotel trying to calm your ass down? He let her go and she get on the elevator and she's like, well, the only Black lives that you care about is my son's. And I'm like, oh, Veronica is so messy. So, I said that part already. So, from there, we see Candace, because Veronica down at the court. No, she's at the jailhouse. Damn it. Yeah, she went to the jailhouse. She gets a phone call about Melissa in the hangar. Okay, cool. They called her to say that she was at the hospital. We gotta go get her. She tried to hang her herself. From there, she goes to talk to Candace, who's in lockup. And she's like, last chance. I'm going to court in about 10 minutes. Are you in or are you out? And Candace is like, if you get me off, I'm in. And she was like, okay, I'll call you. And she's like, you can't call me, I'm in jail. And she's like, well, you won't be for long. And then she walks away. So from there, we see David and Erica at the crib. And, David's still trying to figure out who this dang on ex-fiance is or current fiance or stalker fiance that she done made up. And she's like, I told you I don't want to talk about it. Just leave it alone. Let's go grocery shopping because you don't even have any groceries in this house. And he's like, yeah, I don't cook. He then says, no, let's go somewhere else. And he's like, well, it has to be somewhere simple because, I don't have any clothes to go somewhere fancy. And then he was like, oh, I can take you shopping. And she was like, no, no, I couldn't let you do that. He was like, yeah, it's fine. We can stop by a store and I'll give you some clothes. And she's like, oh, great. There's this cute little thrift shop over on 8th. And he was like, no. I've never in my life taken a woman to a thrift shop. I can't let you spend that kind of money on me. And he was like, yes, you can and yes, you will. Go ahead, David. It ain't tricking if you got it. And she like, I'm going to let this man spend some money on me. Because she's playing her role really well. So, we should leave it at that. We then see Jeffrey calls before they're leaving out. And Jeffrey's like, Mom just left here. She said she's going to court and that she's going to basically have me arrested. David says, Jeffrey, don't go down to the court. Your mother is crazy. I'll handle it. Stay where you are. Do not go near your mother. Just stay there. He specifically says, stay there. But he then says, I'm about to go out, so I'm going to talk to you later. Your son called you and tell you that his mama is going to court to get him arrested, and you say, I'm finna go out real quick, and you going out to buy a little new thing, some clothes. Man, if you don't get that bitch some cash and say, go buy yourself something nice, let me go handle something, but no. You got to go hang out with your little new thing. David. So there's a little scene of Veronica and that detective guy who's investigating Jeffrey Salason's murder, and they're just about to walk into the courtroom. And he's asking her, like, the last place, you were the last one to call Jennifer. What did y'all talk about? And she was like, I don't remember. And he was like, I just find it funny that you were the last one she talked to. You don't know what y'all talked about. And then she went missing. And then she was like, well, you know what? Whatever. I don't care. They then, he's like, I'm going to find out what happened. She's like, you can try, so whatever. They then go into the courtroom. Lord Jesus. I'm going to make it real short and sweet. Veronica argues that the body is not admissible simply because the same thing she's been saying this whole season since they found that goddamn body 18,655 episodes ago. Because the warrant was in Candace's name, but when they found the body, the house had already been signed over to the bank, that the body and any evidence against Candace is null and void. The judge agrees. Bottom line, that's what goes on. She then says because there's no body, there's no crime, so you can't charge Candace with a murder, so all charges should be dropped. The judge agrees. The dang on DA man is upset because he's like, well, we know a murder happened, we have whatever else. And she was like, well, no, none of that matters because there's no body, there's no crime as far as Candace. After that, who do we see walk up to the courtroom? Jeffrey and Justin. Jeffrey, your daddy told your monkey ass to stay away from the courthouse, to stay put. Your mother is up to something. Don't go down there. It's going to be some bullshit. And what does Justin do? Not Justin, Jeffrey. He goes on there anyway. And he's standing there. And when his mom turns around and she sees him, she then says, Your Honor, I do have something else. And she then says, my son admitted to me that he murdered Quincy, so he should be arrested. The judge was like, what? The DA was like, what? Are you, what? She calls him up to the bench. My thing is, if I'm standing there and my mama's talking about I killed somebody, I'm walking away. I'm not going to stand there waiting to be arrested. That ain't going to happen. Gotta go. Bye-bye. And he just stands there. And the judge says, what is this? This better not be, something crazy. She was like, he admitted to me that he killed him. And if you don't believe me, the car keys. Remember, the car keys was found with Quincy's body. But I kept thinking to myself, if the evidence they found in that house was not valid, how was it valid for Jeffrey? But I remember the warrant was for Candace. The warrant had nothing to do with Jeffrey. So any evidence that they found that would make anyone else be guilty besides Candace and besides that body can go to anyone else. So that was why she was saying I could get you too, because no one was going to think about the keys. They would think about the body and Candace. But because Jeffrey wouldn't go back home and be straight with that dang young pregnant girl, she really had that man arrested. So the people arrest him. He's like, Mom, why would you do this? And then the judge is like, is that all? She then looks at Justin. She's like, no, Your Honor. I also think that you're going to have to recuse yourself from this case. And she was like, why? And she was like, because of this. Picks up a remote, cuts the TV on, and it's the audio and video of Justin and Jeffrey talking. Justin saying how he loves him, how he thinks about him all the time. Jeffrey saying, go home to your wife. He's like, no, I want to be with you. And I'm like, oh my God, you just exposed her. She did it. She really did it. And the wife looks pissed. She's like, I'm calling a recess. And she leaves. Justin the whole time is standing in the back of the courtroom just looking. And Jeffrey's like, Mom, I can't believe you would do this. She was like, I'm not listening anymore, Jeffrey. You didn't listen to me, so I'm not listening to you. And she walks away while Jeffrey's being arrested. As she walks past Justin, she says, now look what you made me do. You know, yeah. She said, yeah, look what you did. I'm like, bitch. Now, as she was standing there, I'm looking like, is Justin going to headbutt her? And that's going to be the ending? Is that what's going to happen? But no, it wasn't. We see that she does go pick up Melissa. She said, I'm going to take you to my facility. We're going to keep you there for your depression because your ass is crazy and you a danger to society. Just until you had that baby, you know. And we not riding in my car. We going to ride in your dusty old car because you've been bleeding too much. And we then see Candace gets out of jail. It was like bop, bop, bop. Candace is then getting out of jail. The minute she get her property, her phone rings and it's Charles. And he like, oh, you've been having a hard day or a hard time. She's like, yeah, how do you know? He's like, well, I've been having people keep an eye on you. You know, come here with me to D.C. And she was like, no. And he was like, you can't come visit me. And she was like, no. And he was like, well, can you at least call me later or something? Because when I win presidency, I'm not going to have this number anymore. And she was like, you know, I won't be calling you anymore. Bye, Charles. I hope this is not the end of the Charles Candace saga. I like that storyline. I really, really, really do. I like Charles. He's so cute. Anywho, but the ending scene. So, Veronica and Melissa is in a car driving. You then see a car coming up, speeding behind them, and they ram in the car, and ram in the car, and ram in the car. And Veronica's like, oh my God, what is wrong with this person? What are you doing, you idiot? Stop it. Melissa laughing and giggling. She's like, why are you laughing? You're crazy. And she's like, someone hates you more than me. Ha 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 ha. I'm like, bitch. So the car keep ramming the car and ramming the car and ramming the car. They're crazy. So you then see Melissa grab the steering wheel and she's fighting with Veronica over the car. Because, you know, she want to die anyway. She don't even care. So the car keeps hitting them and hitting them. And the next thing you know, the car flips and spins and crashes. And you see the car upside down and it's like smoking or whatever. So it was a bad accident. And you see the truck that was behind them that was ramming them. It rides past. And who's in the goddamn passenger seat? It is Justin. Justin told her, don't do it, bitch. I'm warning you, don't do it. And Veronica went ahead and did it. And Justin said, I don't even, because I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I love Jeffrey. So, bitch, you pregnant with his baby, you got to go. Mama, Veronica, you crazy as fuck, you got to go. So, yep, kill two birds with one stone. I'm like, bitch. And that's how it went off. Great, great ending. Great, great episode. I loved everyone's acting in it. Can't wait to January. Next week, If Loving You Was Wrong is coming on. I will be reviewing that as well. So, until next time, I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner, and peace.